You're listening to Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. For more information, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at SBT Songs, or check us out at chrisblair.com. What's up, everybody? Chris Blair here, and gosh, this is such an exciting episode for me. How many Carly Pearce fans do we have out there? This episode of Stories Behind the Songs is a throwback episode to when I first started this podcast. Carly has been a very good friend of mine for many years, and when I originally had this idea to do this podcast, Carly was my very first guest, and she had just put her first single out to radio. This was February of 2017, y'all. And it's also funny to see how far we have come with video quality since then, and I also had a lot less gray hair. But today also marks exactly 1.5 years since we have relaunched the Stories Behind the Songs podcast. We have been doing this for 78 weeks in a row now, and so I thought we should dive into the archives and share this beautiful story from my friend Carly. In this episode, she talks about how she got started from being listed in Rolling Stone as a top 10 artist to watch. Her first single with the Josh Abbot Band, Wasn't That Drunk, and when we recorded this, it was literally 1 week after her debut single, Every Little Thing. So since then, she has obviously come so far, and I feel like I am constantly sending her texts about how proud I am of her and just everything that she's doing. I hope you really enjoy this special throwback episode. You're going to hear more of Carly's story from the very beginning. You're going to hear her talk about Busbee, who was her producer and just an industry icon and an amazing guy that unfortunately passed away back in September of 2019. You're going to hear the story behind Every Little Thing and so much more. Carly, if you're listening out there, I am still so proud of you, and you are absolutely crushing it. I hope everyone else out there loves this and continues to support us here on the podcast. Share it with all of your friends, and make sure to go see Carly in concert and support her incredible career. And who knows, maybe we will get her back here in the studio soon to talk about everything that is going on now and everything that's happened in the last 7 years since we first did this episode with her. Here is my dear friend on this special throwback episode, Carly Pearce. It's a real honor and pleasure to have my dear friend and beautiful, talented Miss Carly Pearce.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Very first one.
I know, I'm so excited.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, and it's really cool that you being the very first one, and you've got so much stuff going on right now. You've had a lot of success in the last year, and it's just kind of like watching this ride that you've been on. Yet you still take time to come here and perform, and we love that. And I just want to talk about kind of everything that's happened in the last year.
First of all, I have to say I've known you for a long time. I moved here in 2009, and I remember playing at various places of the listening room, and I'm always so thankful that you've always given songwriters like myself a place for us to express our music, and the sound is amazing, and we consider you family, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Your family as well.
Yay.
So, let's go back to, kind of when Rolling Stone came out with, hey, top 10 country artists to look for. That's kind of when, there were some things happening before that, but that seems like when it really started to snowball, and they were right, and you were on that list, and just some really big things started to happen from them. So just kind of walk us through kind of how that was for you as an artist, and the progression of the months to follow that.
I in 2015 was on Rolling Stone 10 Artists to Watch in the summer, and you think Rolling Stone, you think, oh my goodness, this is like the greatest thing ever. And from that, I've continued to be kind of amazed at what's gone on. You come here and there's so many singer-songwriters and so much talent in this town. But I think over the last couple of years figured out if you really, really put your head down and do the work, things can come to fruition. So after that, I have put out a few singles on SiriusXM The Highway, and teamed up with the Josh Abbot Band and had a single that went to number 37 on Billboard with Wasn't That Drunk. And I feel like since that article came out, I have really honed in on exactly who I am as an artist. I've grown up, I've been here for 7 years, and finally figure out, like, I think I know exactly who I am as an artist and kind of my place in the format. So
Yeah.
It's been kind of a crazy year. It keeps shocking me a little bit.
Well, and now taking us to what's going on right now, Every Little Thing.
I put a song out called Every Little Thing a week ago, and in a week it has peaked. I think it peaked at 31 on the iTunes country chart. The sales are kind of crazy. It was just made a hot track today on iTunes.
It was like Keith Urban, Carly Pearce.
I know.
Like, I mean, it was like, I saw that, I was like, my girl,
But
yes.
you look at it and I see the company that I'm in on
Yes.
that list even right now, and I'm just like, it doesn't compute. I think that's been the hardest thing for me over the last year is like, I see my face, I see my name, I see it, I hear myself, but it still isn't computing that things are starting to, happen for me. And it's just amazing to see, even in a week, the reaction to this song and like how people are really, I wrote it from such a heartbreaking place about a breakup, and just seeing that people are really gravitating and relating to it is awesome, and why we all do this.
So I think that's a good lead in to, what this series is all about. When you go out on radio tours, you talk about, where you've been and, what you're doing and, how songs are doing, all that kind of stuff. But what we see here in Nashville on a day-to-day basis is this is our jobs, like we go into a room and we write these songs, and the rest of the world even doesn't really grasp that concept. Mm-hmm. So if you can open up and be vulnerable a little bit and talk about that breakup, let's break down all the layers of like where you were in that time and how you felt when you walked into the writer's room, what is a writer's room, and just share with everybody that's watching kind of what that story is of start to finish.
A writer's room can be a house, it can be a studio, it can be a room with no windows, which is terrible for me because I like sun. But this particular day, my producer, his name is Busbee, and you may know him, he produced the Maren Morris record and is just kind of killing it right now. He's just finishing up the Lady A record, and so he has a studio in East Nashville, and I went to the studio and I was writing with Busbee and really my favorite female co-writer, her name's Emily Shackleton, and we were writing that day, and I grew up singing bluegrass, and I was listening to Alison Krauss's Let Me Touch You for a While, which is one of my favorite songs. She has such a haunting aspect to her voice and just her music, and dobro is really big in my music, and she incorporates Jerry Douglas so well in that. And I was listening to that, and Busbee and I had been talking, and I was like, it was really the only time that I've ever said, walking into a room, I really want to write a haunting ballad. And for those of you who don't know, that's like a songwriter's nightmare because ballads never get to see the light of day, and to have like a bluegrass aspect is kind of like not commercial at all. So I went in and we had been talking about it, and I was like, I want to write something that is so vulnerable about this particular person in my life that, sometimes the big loves aren't the right loves, but as people, we can't tell our heart when we're over them. And I had a really, really hard time getting over this particular person, probably the most painful breakup I've ever had. And I really wanted to write something that took you on a journey of dealing with the ghost of somebody when you don't really have control over when you can let it go. And so we wrote Every Little Thing from a place of you're still living with this memory that is so painful, and it kind of takes you through the journey of my personal story of the snapshots of what I dealt with in those moments where I didn't think I could take another breath without them. And when we wrote it, there's so much space in the track even that it's uncomfortable. And I think when you go through something like that, it's uncomfortable. And like I said, I've been taught, I write for BMG in Nashville, and my publisher is amazing, and he's always kind of instilled in me, write what you know. Yeah. And I think in those moments when I really write what I know, translates to an everyday person. And so we really did know that song was special when we wrote it that day. It was an easy write. Sometimes they're not easy.
Will you play it for us?
Yes. The scent that you left on my pillow, and the sound of your heartbeat with mine. The look in your eyes like a window, and the taste of your kiss soaked in wine. Every little thing, I remember every little thing. The high, the hurt, the shine, the sting of every little thing. And I guess you forgot what you told me, because you left my heart on the floor. And baby, your ghost still haunts me, but I don't want to sleep with him no more. Every little thing, I remember every little thing. The high, the hurt, the shine, the sting of every little thing. Oh, I remember every little thing. The high, the hurt, the shine, the sting of every little thing. Oh, 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 yeah. And they say time is the only healer. Well, God, I hope that isn't right, 'cause right now I die to not remember every little thing. I remember every little thing. The high, the hurt, the shine, the sting of every little thing. Oh, I remember every little thing. And I'm haunted by the memories of every little thing. The high, the hurt, the shine, the sting. Every little thing.
That was gorgeous. That was Every Little Thing by Carly Pearce. Today is November 18th when we're recording this. We're scheduled to launch this early January. So by the time that everybody kind of watches this, what we're hoping is that this is like way up in the charts and doing awesome. And I think with what we just heard, it's going to be.
I hope so, fingers crossed.
Something about this song and everything that's gone on leading up to this point that we were talking before we started, that just, you know, it's seeming real. Not that it hasn't been before, but you know, it's just like kind of watching this this career path that you've been on. It's like you're there.
I feel like I've just needed the right song that really can translate with people and react, and I feel like, fingers crossed, hopefully, that this is the one. So we'll see where it goes. I'm excited.
Yes, I am too. Let's go back in time to May 30th of 2015.
That was a good day. I grew up in Kentucky, and my dream as a little girl, there's videos of me talking about it when I was 5, that all I wanted to do was play at the Grand Ole Opry. And a couple years, I would say probably in 2012, I saw a pair of sparkly crystal cowboy boots in Nordstrom. And I saw them and I was like, I have to have those. And I was Christmas shopping or something with my mom, and she was in town, and she was like, I will buy those for you only if you promise to keep them and hold them until you play at the Opry. I was like, okay, sure. And so I had these boots in a box for over 3 years, and I never put them on, never even tried them on,
Really?
except for in the store. And they didn't go onto my feet or hit ground until I stepped into the circle on May 30th. And so that was really special. The Opry has become...
I just got chills. I didn't know that story.
It was
That's
special.
awesome.
Yeah, it was really special. And the Opry has become a second family to me as well. Pete Fisher has been amazing, and everybody on the Opry staff has been amazing. And I think that they understand wholeheartedly that the vision of the Opry and the future of the Opry, just as Carrie Underwood has taken it and really held it as a prize in like glass, I want to one day do that.
Right.
I value so much about the history, and it really is so important to me to keep that alive. And so I have now played over 25 times, and I keep asking them to adopt me, and I'm hoping that I'm getting close. Yeah. But it was really special, and it was so special to have my after party. I asked you to have my after party here, so that was fun. That was a very special day that I'll never forget.
Yeah, I was so proud of you. Still am. I mean, just everything going on.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to the writing part of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, about how many songs do you think you've written?
Oh my gosh. Hundreds. I've been writing and keeping journals since I was a little girl, but I don't think that I really started to write songs or co-write at all. We talked about this until I was probably 18 when I moved to Nashville. It was always just kind of what I did at home by myself. But I've written a lot of songs. But it's interesting how many songs you write and how few are great.
Oh, yeah.
You have to write, I mean, I could write 10 bad ones before a decent one comes along, and then write 30 before a special one comes along. But I feel like it's so rewarding and exciting when you feel that in your bones, like you know it's special.
Right, right. So obviously Every Little Thing is one of those special songs. Putting that one aside, what would you say your favorite song that you've written is?
I have a song called Things Change. It's about my home. The home that I grew up in was bulldozed down a few years ago to build a 4-lane highway, and they put a gas station where my house used to be. And so when I go home, I see a gas station, not my house. And that's been really hard for me because I feel like I never existed in a sense. And my grandparents were very close to me, and I was an only grandchild, and they lived a couple streets down from me, and their house looks nothing the same anymore. It's painted a different color, and all my friends from home are starting to get married and have babies, and that's just like a very strange thing to go home and see your childhood friend have a little boy. And it took me I had this idea because I'm so proud of where I come from and miss it a lot. I had this idea kind of for a couple years, and never really was the right time to write it. Couldn't really get it right. I knew it was going to be really special and it had to be right, and took it to Derek Sutherland. He's a writer in town. He's amazing. And Jamie Moore. And they brought it to color and to life. And it's been awesome to hear people's stories. They insert their own stories into it, but we can all relate of, you know, things changing. But that's the other amazing thing is you write something so personal, but yet people can identify with it and put their own story into it. And I think that's the beauty of country music.
So let's relate to it right now. Can you play it?
Yes.
Okay.
You see that house painted white, looking all brand new. I bet you don't know that underneath it's wearing powder blue. And those flowers that line the drive were my grandma's pride and joy. And this 4-lane road I'm driving on used to be just one. They bought my mom and daddy out when the vote for progress won. And where my front yard used to be is just a stop for gasoline. Things change
You can try to slow it down, but you can't. 'Cause this crazy world only spins one way. I swear the only thing that always stays the same is things change. My best friend since we were kids has got a baby of her own, yeah, and says he's starting kindergarten where we used to go. And growing up goes by too quick, never really did sink in. I didn't think that I'd admit that what my mama said's making sense. Things change. You can try to slow it down, but you can't. 'Cause this crazy world only spins one way. I swear the only thing that always stays the same. Oh, it's things change. Always rushing to get older. It's the last thing that I want. I was hell-bent on leaving. Now I'm dying to go home. It feels like time is flying when it used to drag on. Things change. I've tried to slow it down, but I can't. 'Cause this crazy world, it only spins one way. I swear the only thing that always stays the same is things change. Oh, things change.
That was Things Change. I'm here with Carly Pearce. This is Chris Blair with Stories Behind the Songs. And Carly, it's been an honor to have you as the very first one.
Thank you for having
new
me.
series.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
So I want to do some fun things, and so let's just like random. Since you're the first one that we've done, I have no idea, but like favorite cover song.
Ooh, so something you might not know about me. I convinced my parents when I was 16 to let me quit high school. I did graduate online and go work at Dollywood, which is Dolly Parton's theme park.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing in the world at 16, and I still think it's pretty awesome. And so I really did work 9 to 5 for Dolly. So I end my shows every night with 9 to 5, my version of it. So
That's awesome.
It's super fun.
Awesome. Favorite tattoo?
I have a lot of tattoos, but this one is my favorite. It was for my grandfather. So every time I look down and play guitar, I feel like he's there.
What's the meaning behind it?
To make a really long story short, I see redbirds all the time since he passed away, and have even had them peck on my window and have followed me from Pigeon Forge to Nashville. And so I just feel they come up in my life constantly. So I feel like it's him going, hey, I'm still here.
That's awesome.
So he got his tattoo.
Yes. Favorite food on the road?
This is tricky because I travel with a lot of boys, whether it's my band or when I was on the road with Josh Abbot Band, and they don't particularly like the same food as I do. So I always just say, if I can find a Subway, I'm good. But I would prefer, like, one of my favorite things to do is go to different cities and find like local food.
Yeah.
But road, like 3 a.m., I try really hard to not eat the fast food. So I'm like, just give me a 24-hour Subway, I'll eat it.
And what about at home?
I love to cook, so I make salmon, chicken, steak. That's like my other favorite thing. Any of my friends would tell you, my favorite pastime is to go to Publix grocery store.
This is also something that I did not know about you.
Really?
So we'll be talking off camera and setting a date to come over and have dinner.
Come on.
All right. So you also had a really big stepping stone of your career when you were playing around town, and Josh Abbot came in and heard you, and that kind of started a really cool journey for you.
I know.
Let's talk about that.
You really never know. They always say you never know who's sitting in the audience. And Josh Abbott, for those of you who are Texas country fans, he happened to see me play at a weekly Monday night thing called Whiskey Jam, and found out who was singing and messaged me on Twitter. And this was actually probably in 2013. So for a couple years we were Twitter friends, never met. And last year he came to me over Twitter and said, I want to send you a song. I think that you're the right voice for it. So he sent me this song. The song was called Wasn't That Drunk? And I actually knew the song because Emily Weisband, Matt McGinn, and Neil Medley had written the song, and I knew them in the songwriter community, and this was one of those songs that everybody really wanted to see get cut. And so he sent it to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know this song. And he said, I need you to put your vocal on it fast. So I called a friend, and we did it really quickly. Josh had already sang his part, and I sent it in to him. And before I knew it, he was like, we're mixing it for the record. And still, we had never met. And that has been such an amazing experience. They're like brothers to me and like family. Josh has been amazing. I love everybody in his band. The first time that we met, I flew to Houston and was going to jump on the bus with him for a week, and had never met him and never sang the song with him. And so I showed up and I'm like, hey! And from that moment, we have been like family. Yeah. And I will always, always, always be grateful to him for the exposure, the lessons. He's an amazing businessman, and just everything that went from, I got to go on a radio tour with him. I got to play sold out screaming fan. I mean, the Josh Abbott community is like a cult. They love him. And
Jimmy Kimmel?
We got to do Jimmy Kimmel, and I didn't throw up and I didn't fall, so that was good. And just again, all of these experiences that I don't feel like unsigned artists really get to see from the outside of your own career. And I think it's just prepared me for hopefully what's to come for me as far as going into radio stations and playing for crowds. And I feel like thanks to him, in a lot of ways, I've become a better singer, a better performer. So I'll always have a special place in my heart. We went to number 37 on Billboard, so I'll forever be grateful to them.
So I've been friends with Neil Medley for years and years and years. I used to work with his wife a long time ago. So that was like a really cool connection with, you know, how close we are and how long we've been friends and how long I've known Neil. And we were just so excited. And I don't think that you know this, but when you were on Kimmel, so we were so excited about it that my wife is an esthetician. And so she does skincare for a lot of artists in town. And but with that, she gets up really early. And so, you know, like we have this like battle because I'm a night person, you know? So that was like one of like, there was no question. She was staying up to watch you on Jimmy Kimmel, and like, it was amazing, so.
Again, one of those moments where you go, is that me on Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, the Josh Abbott Band was awesome too, but like we watched it for you.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It was crazy. That was one of the craziest. That and the Opry has been like the moments where I just go, what is happening? But Jimmy Kimmel's really nice.
Yeah.
Super cool. So that was awesome.
Yep. Favorite place to play, whether in Nashville or out on the road, like the coolest place you've been to?
Other than the listening room, probably the Opry. That circle.
Great answer.
That's something to me.
Yes, yes. How many people have stood in that circle? Like, that's gotta be, I mean, I know we already talked about it, it is like, but just golly.
Even walking through, especially at the Ryman, when the Opry's at the Ryman, and you walk through the halls and you look at the old pictures and you, again, it's hard for me. That's been the biggest thing for me over the last year, is computing that this is my life and that it really is happening. So I'm walking and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a Dolly picture. That's Patsy Cline, that's Hank Williams, you know, and it's like, you're right there where they were and probably feeling the same things that they were. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's awesome to have you as our very first series. And you guys look for her, Carly Pearce. We're going to put links to all of her social media and her website and everything right below this video. So check it out. Call your radio stations, request her song, go see her on the road. You will not be let down. This is Chris Blair with Stories Behind the Songs and Carly Pearce. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair. Make sure to give us a follow on Spotify if you enjoyed this episode, and make sure you click that notification button so you can keep notified when new episodes come out. We release brand new episodes every Tuesday, and you can find us on YouTube at Stories Behind the Songs with Chris Blair or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to send us a comment letting us know what you thought of the episodes. We love getting your feedback, and share this with your friends. The more we grow, the more that we can keep doing this. It's our mission to bring you all of these great stories behind the songs from some of Nashville's most iconic artists and songwriters, publishers, producers, everyone in between, and a lot of my great friends. We love what we do, and we love sharing their stories with you. We appreciate all of the continued support. Thanks also to all of our sponsors, and we will see you all next week.